Happy Monday. It's Motivation Monday here on the Be Your Own Hero Show. So this is the 31st day of January. It's the end of January. It's the end of the first month of the new year, 2022. So lots to talk about there. But anyway, this is the 21st episode of season 3 of the Be Your Own Hero Show. Hero is an acronym. It means helping everyone reaps optimism. In other words, helping others helps you. It's a reciprocal action. Try it. Definitely try it. And I'm your host. I'm sekouwrites. I'm a professional creative and the creator of what we're now calling the Hero Ministry Movement. And that's my effort to uplift and inspire the unhoused community in particular, but everyone in general, to uplift and inspire people generally, because the scope of what this is has grown. So a couple quick disclaimers. I'm not a personal trainer and I'm not a financial advisor. So do your own due diligence, do your own homework, and take what I say with a grain of salt. Because I'm talking about my journey and what has worked for me, and hopefully there will be something that has worked for me or what has not worked for me that will resonate with you. Shout out to New Thought Media Network for allowing me this platform to be here and to talk about my journey of becoming my own hero. This is their website, ntmedia.org. You can make a donation there. It is a 501c3, so that's a tax-deductible donation. You can also check out some of the other programs on the network. All right. All that said, thanks for being here. Thanks for being here with me live. You can catch me here Monday through Friday, 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time. If you missed the show, you can always watch the replays on Facebook and YouTube. If you watch on YouTube, subscribe. You have the option of subscribing, and then you get notifications every time there's a new episode. And there's a new episode 5 days a week. 5 days a week. And this is season 3. So if you missed anything, you can go back and watch the replays and get caught up. You can do a binge watch. Yeah, it's snowing. Wait, it snowed up east. So if you snowed in, you need something to do, you can binge watch the previous episodes of the Be Your Own Hero Show and get caught up. Okay, and if this show provides any value, please like, please comment, please share. Please do all those things because it helps the algorithm and helps other people find out about it. And yeah, we want this show to expand. We want New Thought Media Network to expand. And we want the wisdom that comes along with doing the work to become your own financial hero to expand also. All right, so this is season 3. As I just said, the theme for season 3 is doing, and my idea for season 3 is to be a little more practical about what to do and how to do it, or at least what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, and hopefully you can get something from that. Okay, so let's see who's with me in the chat. Shout out to the people who are watching live. Shout out to Tim. Shout out to Gladys. Shout out to Nan. Thanks for watching live. Shout out to all the people who are checking in, joining in, but haven't put anything in the chat. I see you checking in. I appreciate it. And let's get into some Hero Ministry Movement news. So a couple things. I talked a lot about Acorns Friday. So if you missed that, basically Acorns is an app that you can download to your phone. And what it does a few different things, but it allows you to invest in mutual funds easily by using what it calls roundups. So that means if you go out into the world and you use a debit card and you spend, let's say, $1.99 on an item out there in the world, it will round up to $2 and take that 1 penny automatically and put it into a mutual fund. So what's cool about that is that it's invisible. You don't see it happening. And there's small increments. So the most you could have rounded up is like 99 cents. Right? If you buy something that's yeah, I think the most that it can round. I remember now. You can set how much you want it to round up, but we're talking about cents, not dollars. So you're not going to miss it. And then when you look, you'll see that you have accumulated some money passively without actively trying to invest. We also talked about the fact that it's a mutual fund. So that's not where you want to leave your money. And that's new information for all of us, right? Because we're all raised and taught to put our money in mutual funds. But that's a whole other conversation. Anyway, what I intend to do is use it as yet another bucket to passively accumulate money and then move that money directly into the stock market by buying a share of one of the index funds, probably the S&P 500. And that's what I would suggest you do. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just telling you what I'm doing and what I think. But that said, you would get a much better return by investing directly into the stock market versus leaving it in that account, the Acorns account. Also, I mentioned that there's a fee. The fee has gone up from $1 a month to $3 a month. And Rev Mel told me over the weekend that if you call and you have a conversation with them about that, you might be able to get your fee reduced to $1. So I haven't tried that yet, but I'm just letting you know that that's a possibility. Because generally speaking, across the board, companies have found that it costs them less money to keep old customers than to buy new customers. So if you're already a customer on Acorns, plural, and the fee goes up, you'll probably be able to negotiate it down. If you're a new customer, I don't know if you'll be able to negotiate it down. So this might not be for you. All that said, let me end by saying I went into my Acorns account this weekend because I wanted to figure out why my roundups weren't working. And I see that they are offering a link, much like Webull. So I'm going to post the link on my Facebook page. And it works the same way as Webull does. If you use my link, then you get some free something. I think it's $5. Not 100% sure. But you get some free money into your account if you use my link. So if you're a new customer and you use my link, like basically that's a month free because it's $3 a month, but you get $5 free. So anyway, I'll post the link. Use it if you like. I'll post it on my Facebook page. Okay, so that was a lot about Acorns. That was more than I expected to say about Acorns. So let me pick up the pace, move on. So this is day 245 of my run streak, and there's two things to talk about. There's the charity run component, and there's the half marathon I just ran. So let me just briefly talk about the half marathon. As some of you know, if you've been watching the show, I've been training for a half marathon, and it's a self-study course, right? So we got together once for time trials, and then the next time we get together is this coming Saturday. In the interim, they just gave us a sheet with a list of things to do. Anyway, separate from that, I ran my first half marathon on Saturday. So my confidence is greatly expanded. I am still training for a half marathon, but I just did one. And so that's really gratifying to be able to know that for sure I can do it, as opposed to working myself up incrementally. I just jumped the board and did it. And now it's about doing it correctly, learning form, learning process, learning all the other things that I might not know. So it was a really interesting experience. Do I have time for a story? I'm going to tell one story. I don't know if I have time, but I'm going to tell one story. Because I don't think you will hear this otherwise. So you've heard me talk about Antoine. Antoine and I ran with a group out at a water park. It doesn't matter where. So we started with this group, and everyone in the group ran different distances. That's kind of how it goes when you have these running groups. Oh, Nan just joined a running group. Shout out to you, Nan, for running with your running group. It's pretty cool, right? There's a whole camaraderie around it. Anyway, so we started off all together, and people tended to run different distances, different routes, etc. We ran a half marathon, Antoine and I, and a couple other people ran a half marathon. There were bridges along the route, very small bridges, like 10 to 20 yards. And it had snowed the night before. And so the bridges were a little bit icy, not much, but a little bit icy. So we would stop and walk the bridges. And this was an out and back route. So we ran out all the way from the water park into downtown Nashville and then back out to the water park. And on the way back, when we stopped to walk those bridges, I noticed something. And I didn't say anything about it for a while because I was like, I'm tripping. Wait, let me just get it together. But it kept happening. And so finally I said something about it. This is what was happening. When I would stop to walk the bridges, I could feel my body like still running. It was so surreal. I could almost see myself still running ahead of me. It was trippy, right? And I was like, I'm not going to say anything about this. Ultimately, I did. I was like, man, I feel like I'm running outside myself. And Antoine's like, yeah, that happens. I was like, what? And he was like, and because it happens, he had already determined when we were going to stop. Like, we weren't going to run all the way back to where we parked. We were going to stop further out to walk, to let our bodies resettle into ourselves. What? So this is like a known thing in this world of half marathons. And I've never had that experience before. I've never run that far before. And I think that made the difference. But a couple things from that. Number one, you don't know what you're capable of until you try, right? Because I didn't think really that I was capable of running a half marathon. I knew I had done 10 miles, but I was thinking about that extra 3. Like, I don't know if that extra 3 is going to be difficult or easy. Turns out there's a big difference between the 10 and the 13 because of this kind of out-of-body experience. That's number one. Number two, you have to talk to people who have been where you're trying to go about how to get there. Because if I was running with someone else who had not run a half marathon before, and I said that, they'd have been like, what are you talking about? Or maybe they would have been having the same experience, but not have known to normalize it. So it's important to get advice from people who have already been where you're going. And this is important for finance too. It's especially important for finance because how often do we get advice from our brothers, cousins, sisters, mothers, fathers, the people in our immediate circle, but how often are those people where we are trying to go financially? I'm not talking about being further along than we are. Sure, they can be further along than we are, but are they where you're trying to go? Because if they're not where you're trying to go, they can't really give you advice about getting there because they don't really know. And so same thing for running, like having someone who's been where I am and beyond has been really extremely helpful to me. As I mentioned before, he's in the 1200s of his run streak. So that's multiple years that he's been running every day. And so his body of experience and his ability to comment on things that seem odd to me is extreme, right? And now I've spent a lot of time talking about this, but it really impacted me, that out-of-body experience, and also having somebody to normalize, be like, yeah, that's going to happen. And there's some other things that are going to happen too. So anyway, and then the last thing I want to say about this, and then I swear I'm going to move on. It also underscores the point that we should not give people unsolicited advice. All of us, myself included. Stop giving people unsolicited advice. Because if you haven't been where they're trying to go, then the advice you're giving them is going to be off, right? We don't think about it that way. But we don't know where they're trying to go most times. And if we give them advice based on where we are, not on where they're trying to go, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, we hurt their process. So unsolicited advice, just knock it off. Like, all right, I'm going to stop because I got to get to these other things. So charity run, shifting gears, charity run. So I'm very excited. The charity run picked up some steam over the weekend. Once again, I'm raising money for Mr. Charles. Just very briefly, Mr. Charles is the man that I helped. He had slipped on the ice and snow in the heavy snow here in Nashville a couple weeks ago. And unbeknownst to both of us, he had broken his foot at the time. He's in the hospital last time I checked. I'll check on him again soon, but I'm hoping to be able to check on him with good news. So over the weekend, well, all told, we now have 6 different folks who have donated. So just a quick little roll call. Got donations from Nan. Nan was the first person to donate. Then Gladys, Rev Melissa, Simone, and Deacon Boone, who's at my mom's church here in Nashville. So very excited. We got some momentum. Things are happening, and I'm excited at the possibility of being able to present Mr. Charles with this gift when he comes back from the hospital. So if you're interested, just go to sekouwrites.com. That's my website. Right on the homepage, it says Hero Charity Run. Just click the link and you can pay by credit card. Easy peasy. Okay, so moving on. As I mentioned earlier, this is the last day of January. This is the 31st day of January. So I'm very curious to hear how people's 30-day challenges have been going. And yes, we did not start exactly on day 1 of January. So you might still be going, or you might have fallen off and might have restarted. So anyway, at the end of the month, I just want to do a check-in. So drop some comments over on the Facebook page. Let me know how you do, or right here in the comments here. Let me know how it's been for you, what you learned. And also, I'm taking Tim's advice. He said a couple weeks ago that it would be cool to have recurring 30-day challenges. So I'm just going to keep it going. Like, the idea is to get for yourself 30 consecutive days or whatever it is you're trying to do. And so if you didn't get to 30, just start over. Like, be gentle with yourself. Start over. Start from 1 and try to just make it further than you made it the last time. If you made it 8 days last time, your new goal is 9, right? And just keep trying. So anyway, all that said, February 1, we're calling it a new 30-day challenge, but it is the same 30-day challenge. We're all trying to get to a new 30-day streak of something. Oh, it's a streak challenge. Yeah, 30-day streak challenge. So that's the challenge, and I would love to hear what has happened for you during this process. So let me know. Okay, so a couple quick things about just media mentions. I have posted now my interview with DJ Maurice Wilkie. He's out of Boston on the sekouwrites podcast, which is there on my right-hand side. So the sekouwrites podcast, the 2 most recent episodes now are my interview with Regina Smithwick from Let's Talk 1943 and my interview with Maurice Wilkie from The Urban Heat in Boston. So check those out on the sekouwrites podcast. As always, check out the Get Rich 101 podcast. I added a new episode over the weekend to that podcast as well. Okay. So I think that's all the news and information. I think I got everything. Oh, the envelope challenge. I would also love to know what's happening with people in terms of the envelope challenge. I'm going to roll that over again. New 30-day challenge. Yes, and I know that maybe you haven't reached 30 days because we didn't start on January 1, but I'm just saying my idea is to roll the 30-day streak challenge over at the top of every month. So for me, the biggest takeaway has been there's always enough. There's always enough because it does not always feel like there's enough. And if you can get past, or I'll keep it specific, if I can get past feeling pinched about taking some money from here and moving it over there, then I realize I can relax and realize there's always enough. There's always enough. So that's a good abundance lesson. It's much more about mindset than it is about moving money. Okay. Love to hear what your experience has been. All right. So finally moving into, Morning Zen. Yeah, Morning Zen. Let me do the Morning Zen. Yeah. All right. Morning Zen. So as you know, I'm doing the 30-day mental diet class. And as you also know, if you've been watching me here, recently I started skipping around based on Rev Mel's advice that if something isn't really connecting for you, or if a day is really connecting for you, stay on that day. If something isn't connecting for you, skip around a little bit. So I've been skipping around a little bit. So I'm a little bit out of chronological order is my point. That's the point of that sidebar. So I'm on day 25 because I did a little bit of skipping around this weekend. And this section is about health. So this theme is how to ensure your health for today. And I'm just going to read. I don't think I have time to read it all, everything that I wrote down. So what's the most important part? Here's the most important part. The effect of the nature of your thinking on the condition of your body is a well-established fact. I'm just going to read that again. And maybe I'll edit a little bit for clarity. The effect of your thinking on the condition of your body is a well-established fact. And that makes me think of one more sidebar. That makes me think of this story. This is a documented story. You can Google it. This surgeon brought in a number of people who needed a knee surgery, right? And then he operated on some of them. And then on the others, he just put an incision on their knee. but didn't do any kind of surgery. You basically just cut them, and that's it. And all of them performed much better than they had when they came in, including the ones who just gotten an incision. No surgery at all. So again, it's really about mind over body. Your mind really does affect your body. And we know that, but you have to apply it. You have to apply your mind and mindset to your physical self. You have to keep your mindset in a positive space to affect positive energy for your body. So that's it. Just one more little part. Your every thought about either health or ill health is a payment towards what you will experience. Your every thought about either health or ill health is a payment towards what you will experience. So make your payments towards health mentally. Make your payments towards health mentally. Keep doing it. Make your payments towards health mentally. All right. So moving on. I'm running so over time, but it's all good. It's all good. So let's get to the abundance portion of the show. I want to talk about, as you know, I've been talking about trading. If you've been watching the show, I've been talking about trading. I've been very fascinated. I hope I'm not talking over anyone's head. Let me know. But I think I'm going to have to stay here because I'm fascinated by this world of trading that's opening up. So today is Monday, Motivation Monday. Here is a motivational story for you. I want to tell you about the turtles. What? The turtles? Yes, the turtles. And no, I'm not talking about the animals. I'm talking about the turtle traders. Turtle, as in the animal, traders, as in stock trading. Okay, so the story very briefly is that there was a young man who was not a man of means. Like, he did not grow up with a wealthy family, but early on he got fascinated with the stock market and was able to turn $100 into $1,000, $1,000 into $5,000, and $5,000 into $100,000 over time. He became one of the most well-known stockbrokers of his era, and this was in like the 70s. Right? Not only because he was so good, but also because he was a physically imposing presence. He was tall and big. Anyway, he started a company with another person who was a stockbroker. And the two of them used to debate all the time about whether or not the skills that they had acquired to achieve their wealth was a teachable skill. And so he, the guy who I just described, said that it was. His partner was like, nah, it's innate. You got to be born with it. And so they ultimately did a bet. And this is like right out of a movie, right? It's right out of a movie, like Trading Places. Anyway, they made a bet with each other. An experiment. They would put out an all call out there in the world, in the Wall Street Journal, as it turns out, and ask for anyone who's interested in learning stock trading to come, and they would teach them their system. What? Yeah. So there's a lot of things, a lot of layers to this story. So many of the people who saw the ad disregarded it because it seemed too good to be true. And it was. It was too good to be true, but it was an actual thing. They were like, we will train you how to be a stockbroker no matter what your background is. Just come see us and go through the interview process. So thousands of people did apply, even though many people thought, nah, that can't be accurate. Thousands of people did apply. And of the thousands, they chose 14. So those 14 people, they trained for 2 weeks, just 2 weeks, on how to trade in the stock market according to their system, their quote unquote turtle system. Anyway, I got to tell you that the group of people that they selected were kind of a ragtag bunch of all kinds of folks. You had stay-at-home moms, you had a computer programmer, a professional card player, blackjack player, magician, I think. Like, it was a really random assortment of people. And the people in the program weren't sure what the the two stockbrokers were selecting for, but it ended up being a fairly random group of folks. Anyway, for 2 weeks, they teach this random group of folks exactly what to do. And they staked them. In other words, they, the investors, gave them their own money to invest. And I think it started with $100,000 each. Don't quote me, but it was a significant amount of money. And then ultimately, what they promised them was $1 million each to trade of their money. So the people who are trading aren't risking anything. And whatever they make, they get to keep half of. So still a pretty phenomenal offer, right? Anyway, they teach everyone, all 14 of them, they teach all of them the system. And then the very first trade, only one of the 14 did what they were taught to do. Only one of the 14 did what they were taught to do. Wild, right? But this is where cognitive bias comes into play. All of them were taught the same thing, but their cognitive biases, the way they thought, interrupted their ability to be able to do what they were told. Only one was able to do exactly what he was told to do. So as a result, that one person got the biggest account. He got $2 million to trade. Other people got varying amounts, and some people got kicked out of the program, right? And over the next 5 years, the group of folks, the group of turtles who remained in the program were able to generate $175 million within 5 years. We're talking about rank amateurs, people who haven't traded at all in life, people who were doing random things otherwise before this. They were able to earn $175 million after 2 weeks of training. So it really just, again, it boggles my mind that this area of finance that I've always thought of as taboo and too complicated and avoid at all costs is just another learnable skill. Is there risk? Sure. But there's a lot of reward too. And ultimately, it's a learnable skill. Like, if you have time, you out there watching, if you have time, then you can apply your time to this. And it is one of the most lucrative fields I've discovered. All you gotta do is apply time because it's a learnable skill. You learn it, and like the turtles, you can earn millions of dollars. One of the people earned $35 million just on his own. $35 million without ever having traded before. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's like this kind of ghost story in the world of finance. I stumbled upon it in pursuit of more stories about stock trading, and I've been fascinated. There's books about it. Some of the turtles are still alive and talking about it. Many of them got kicked out just because they weren't able to follow the rules. And again, the only reason they weren't able to follow the rules was because of what was happening in here, which takes us all the way back to mindset. Meaning, money, abundance, wealth is the effect, but you are the cause. And if you can't change how you think about money, abundance, and wealth, then the effect will not change. You got to change the cause so that you can change the effect. All right. So that said, I hope that story was inspirational to you. It was definitely inspirational to me. I've been reading about turtles all weekend. Anyway, it's time for prayer time. So let me cut this short. Watch prayer time and then circle back for a sit with Rev. Melissa at 10:30. And I'll be producing that show. Maybe I'll pop in to say a couple words. Drop your comments in about how the 30-day challenge has been for you, how the envelope challenge has been for you, and what you're thinking about my new direction in terms of talking about trading. And I will check the comments. I see there's some comments. I'll check those after the show. Till tomorrow, keep doing. Be a hero. Be your own hero. Remember that now is better than perfect. And check out the podcast so that you can get your mind right, so that you can so you can create abundance and wealth around you. Because remember, the money is the effect and you are the cause. All right. I'm rambling now. I'm going too far. Later.